Greetings, dear viewers. Anthony Marsh on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film with a new episode of the Terra podcast with episode 339, presented by my Morphin Megaverse Power Rangers Facebook group. Well, guess who decided to come back to the world of Power Rangers? Not the TV show anyway, but rather a fan film series. Not mine, of course, so let that if you will. So, Russell Lawrence, Mike Corbett of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fame, made his way back to the franchise and the entire fandom with his character of Mike coming back as the Magna Defender in Power Rangers Shattered Past. I don't know what to think about this really because, here's the thing with fan films made by, of Power Rangers by other fans other than me. I have longed, I know I may be considered a joke of a Power Ranger fan doing fan films or so, but I'm surprised we finally got an actual actor from Power Rangers and from that particular eponymous season showing up, likely for a cameo in a fan film of the franchise. And especially, let alone Lost Galaxy representation by the one and only. But here's a little rundown about some of the Power Ranger fan films I've witnessed, though, especially from Chris Cantata and also Crimson Vision Studios. They do specialize, I've seen a few of Canada Force's Power Rangers fan film stuff, mostly, here and there half of the time when I'm not doing my Power Ranger thing. Because a lot of the time, when I think back to a lot of the fan films of Power Rangers we've had lately, I look at how most of the majority of all of these fan films, or fan series, if you will, have been produced about the brand. Well, to be honest, though, for me, I'm irrelevant at this point. I was supposed to live up to doing a Lost Galaxy fan thing, but turn around, I never really did anything about my thing. But again, I don't matter. I'm irrelevant. But on to actual Power Ranger fans who actually did something, creative like this. Because for the last 12 years, I've been doing Power Ranger fan films, or in attempt of trying so. I never really thought that there would be some Power Ranger fans that actually managed to get, for some fan films like, Chris Cantata and Crimson Vision Studios doing, Power Ranger fan films where they would probably call up some of the actors that have been on Power Rangers to be involved in the fan projects. And that's crazy, even with, like, Christopher Kamen Lee, who was, Andros of Power Rangers in Space fame, appearing in the Bloodline of the Grid, which is like a 20-plus years after In Space sort of thing. Or, I don't know what was going on, because to be honest, though, I barely follow anyone else's Power Ranger fan films, because I'm more thinking, knowing me, because I gotta realize I gotta stop thinking about myself for once, and think about the entire broader part of the fandom when it comes to stuff like this and content like this. But for the very first time, an actual alumni of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy actually made it into a fan film project by someone. Not me, of course. Someone else. But here's my thoughts on Mike returning in the thing. I haven't seen the trailer. Well, I'll give you a link of the trailer in the description box below and see for yourself, and wondering if you guys are looking forward to see Mike returning in this fan thing. Well, of all the years I had frustrations of Mike coming back in some capacity for Power Rangers. Some capacity. How on earth did he get his Magna Defender powers back? Is beyond anyone's guess. This is not, of course, knowing fan films, they are not part of the television show. The fan films are made by fans and for fans of anything. And particularly of all the years I've been doing Power Ranger fan films, I know it'll be difficult for me one day to, how much money do I have to pay a actual Power Ranger actor to appear in my fan thing? How much do I need to do that? So I don't know what actually got Russell Lawrence interested to do this thing, because somewhere in California, where most of Power Ranger fans do stuff like this or so, they pretty much called up some actors that were a part of the franchise to come back and somewhat reprise the roles if they were done nowadays outside of the TV world. But knowing a lot of majority of Power Ranger fan films are not a part of the main universe. They're just fan-made content, fan-made stuff with higher budgets and stuff, while my fan film stuff of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, since I'm only a one person group, a one-man group, I don't have a budget to make my fan film something, so I just did it as just a hobby rather than making it something of higher concept and stuff. And I think that's probably why nobody really cared about my thing. But on to someone else doing a fan film thing of Power Rangers, and then someone getting someone related to Lost Galaxy actually involved. You know, I'm astounded that they actually managed to get a hold of Russell Lawrence. Because to be honest, though, out of all of the Lost Galaxy actors that we've been hearing about lately nowadays in this, you know, rut of social media, and with a lot of Power Ranger fans opening up the social media, particularly with Lost Galaxy actors, mostly Serena Vincent. Next thing you know, what if they get Serena in one of these fan films for Lost Galaxy representation? Because after all, I mean, of all the times I try to do a fan film of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, well, I'll explain to you guys next time about that. But if they ever get anybody from Lost Galaxy that's likely still acting, like Serena, because, you know, Serena Vincent is, of course, a huge fan favorite among the Power Ranger fandom, because, you know, given her, you know, and I know I may have my personal thing against her or so, but I gotta keep that to myself, though. But Russell, we haven't heard from him in decades after Power Rangers Lost Galaxy ended. And, you know, again, Mike lost his Magna Defender powers. So, will it be possible if this fan film, this fan film's 5th episode will probably explain how Mike would get his powers back, or is there a way he could get the Magna Defender powers back? Or, I mean, I don't know, because I haven't seen these fan films from Crimson Vision Studios, because I've never really seen none of their Power Ranger fan films. But even though, again, in the past, before these guys and Unworthy Productions in them, I've seen Power Ranger fan films like Teenagers with Attitude and Zordon of Eltar, but that was back then. Nowadays, in the zeitgeist of Power Rangers Unworthy, this, Bloodline of the Grid, and Rise of the Ninja in them, it's like, well, to be honest, though, I'm irrelevant, because I'm pretty much of a joke here. But the thing is, I really was looking forward, hoping that there was somebody going to pull up somebody from Lost Galaxy in these fan films for once, because what I've been doing for a decade, well, again, I just failed to get myself together with my thing. So, but for others though, but for them, I'm happy that they were thinking about actual Lost Galaxy representation, because what I've been doing kind of is jokes. You know, is a joke in a way, and I just feel embarrassed now that someone is actually doing that. But I shouldn't feel like that now, because I had all decade to get my life together doing my thing, but seeing someone else do a fan film of Power Rangers, or a fan film series, if you will, bringing back some past actors and then have random people who would like to play those actors' characters in the fan thing, that was nice for them to do some Lost Galaxy representation. But Mike, now speaking of him, anyway, just get back to the topic here. But Mike, he had been irrelevant for half of Lost Galaxy once he had his hand on the Magna Defender's remaining power after the original died. Because when you think back to, now we should do a little summary about Mike's character arc from Power Rangers in the main universe going into the fan thing. And I'll probably bring up a little bit about Mike as Magna Defender from Beyond the Grid, as, you know, where we are with that character, where he's been after all these years. So, knowing the fact we're going into, as of this video's recording, we're going into February 1st, but right now it's January 31st at the time of this recording. But, so it's been 23 years since Power Rangers Lost Galaxy aired and ended, but we need to think back to when Mike started and where we last left him. So we know in the television show, Mike was an officer for Terra Venture, was like one of the top leading security guards and stuff, and then part of the military of Terra Venture. Mike was very protective of Leo, and when he found out that Leo was going to come to Terra Venture during the simulation on the moon, but then when Maya went into that portal from Miranoid to that moon simulation after being followed by Stingwingers, and when they fended off with them, Mike went with Maya and Kendrix to Miranoid to stop Furio from getting the Quasar Sabers, with Mike ordering Leo to go back and realizing that, again, that was because, Mike cared about his brother. He didn't want Leo to get hurt, though. And I think one of the other underrated aspects about Lost Galaxy is that where the season not only about sacrifice and loss and some revenge for certain characters like the original Magda Defender, there's also the themes of overprotective family members. Because, with overprotection being a factor, that's another thematic element of Lost Galaxy, is the overprotectiveness of other family members, which I think has been a really glossed over aspect of the season when you think about it. Aside from death and loss and sacrifice and redemption for some characters like Magda Defender, and what little slight redemption Trecheron and Villamax had. But in Destiny, for certain characters like Mike, when he was destined to take over Magda Defender's power after the original died, and Leo's destiny was to be the Red Ranger, although Mike posthumously, took the saber first before Leo would have his hand on it. But that's the thing about Lost Galaxy, and why I've always loved these Power Rangers for 23 years, was themes like, sacrifice and passing on the torch after someone passes away. And things like that, carrying on, soldiering on, and all of that. So speaking of Mike with the Quasar Saber, when he was swallowed into that crevice by Furio, Mike had to give Leo his Quasar Saber, and he was sort of quote unquote dead. And then you fast forward a couple of episodes after the Quasar Quest, then we go into the beginning of the Lights of Orion saga. Leo was still going through PTSD of losing Mike, because, despite him being rash and impulsive from the start and not so thinking before he leapt proper. And when Leo discovered Mike in a casket, when he thought Mike was actually back alive, when it was really a ploy by Furio and Trakina, in that episode of the beginning of the Lights of Orion saga. But only to find out this fake Mike was, again, Furio's Monster B Tantrum. So Leo, during the Lights of Orion saga, and when Magda Defender, the original Magda Defender, showed up, then Leo starts keep getting more and more visions of Magda Defender out of Mike. Because, even though, again, I've talked about Magda Defender a couple times in passing, but on and on. But as time went on with Magda Defender, and why he almost hurt innocent people on Terra Venture out of vengeance against Scorpius, then Magda Defender, as time went on, after when the Rangers finally got their hands on the Lights of Orion, Magda Defender was on the brink of death, the original, because after he already lost his son Zika, still on vendetta of wanting the Lights of Orion, against Scorpius, using the Lights of Orion against Scorpius. But then we get some senses of Mike trying to reemerge out of Magda Defender's spirit, because knowing the fact Magda Defender took Mike's spirit, I was about to say Furio, Mike's spirit into him, so that way he can survive. And then once Redemption Day came, Magda Defender sacrificed himself for the Power Rangers and just renewed life to the team, and then giving Leo his brother back. And then you go into one of my favorite episodes of the season after Redemption Day, Destined for Greatness. You have Leo and Mike's big focus here, since Quasar Quest, where we finally get to see the two reconcile about who should have been the Red Ranger, knowing the fact Leo... Well, that's what I liked about Leo. Yeah, in the beginning, he was not thinking right. He wasn't that much of a good leader. earlier on because his mind was just not there. But he still led the team halfway through. But even though it felt like Kai was the leader of the group during that time because Leo was just too immature and stuff. And but although after losing his brother, he had to wake up and realize, cut that childish stuff out. And then once Mike gave Leo his saber back after dealing with a couple of those of Skelecron's skull soldiers and them hoods and stuff, like, you know, Power Rangers equivalent to the Grim Reaper, but with multicolored scarves of the Rangers, except Pink had a white scarf. But I digress. And Leo telling Mike that, you know, he was the one that pulled the saber from the stone. He was chosen to be the Red Ranger, not him. But Mike fessed up and told him the reason he gave him the saber because it was really meant for him all this time. He wasn't meant to be the Red Ranger. Then why the heck did Mike even pull the saber out in Quasar Quest then? Again, don't view that plot hole. So after that, then when the Rangers were in trouble by Skelecron in his mirror world in the Megazord, then Magna Defender's spirit, via his sword, comes to Mike, tell him that he should become the new Magna Defender. And so Mike becomes Magna Defender, but in a couple of episodes after that, like Stolen Beauty, The Lost Galactabeasts, and some other superfluous episodes, even like To the 10th Power and the Captain Mutiny storyline, Mike was only around on occasion. Because, again, we were still in an era of Power Rangers where most Six Rangers are only around on occasion to help the core group out. Because, again, that was even back when Jonathan Zacher was still a showrunner for the series up until Super Mega Force with that. So, with that conundrum about Six Rangers not having much screen time. So as time went on, also throughout the Lost Galaxy season, then we get to the end of the season, which I've really had a real huge bitch fit about for 23 years after the season ended, where once we get to the pre-ultimate end of the Captain Mutiny storyline, and of course, which leads to the 3-part finale to Lost Galaxy with Enter the Lost Galaxy. No, Escape the Lost Galaxy. I'm sorry, my bad. Escape the Lost Galaxy, where I've complained about when Mike used the Toro Zord in the last of Magna Defender's powers to help Terra Venture get out of Captain Mutiny's clutches in the Lost Galaxy by using Toro Zord with no other choice to use the Toro Zord to open that wormhole. So Terra Venture, the Astro Mega ship, and all the slaves that were captured by Captain Mutiny with the Rangers on the Astro Mega ship to get out of the Lost Galaxy. Because why couldn't they just sacrifice the Zenith Carrier Zord or something in American footage? If Mike still had his Magna Defender powers for the end during the Rangers' final battle with Trakina. But again, that would have been nice, but, when Trakina would come back to close out the season. Yeah, I know how pissed I was as a kid for the last 22 and a half years about Mike losing the Magna Defender powers. But I think now it's understandable. Because, well, to be honest, though, what else can Mike do? His character development was complete, sort of. So there was not much Mike could do after that time with the Magna Defender powers. So that was the end of his time as Magna Defender. But then when Trakina did come back with the Scorpion Stinger, when the Rangers and Terra Venture came back from the Lost Galaxy and away from, and after being dealt with Captain Mutiny, then she destroys Terra Venture, so Mike was just back to his normal self from the beginning of the season, but already developed from after going through all the stuff he'd gone through all season. But then losing the Magna Defender powers just cost a lot of potential for him to team up again, to show up with the team again against Trakina in a final battle. That could have been interesting. But instead they decided, no, 5 Galaxy Rangers versus Trakina because Mike is deemed superfluous and irrelevant. Even after the season, Mike did get his Magna Defender powers in Boom Studios' Power Rangers Beyond the Grid saga. Because I don't even know in Shattered Grid, when Boom Studios did the Shattered Grid comic, if the Magna Defender was the original or Mike underneath that suit during the Shattered Grid saga. So this fan thing by Crimson Vision Studios with Power Rangers. I don't know whether if Mike will find a way to get his Magna Defender powers back, or I don't know what those Rangers of Shattered Past is going to do, because I have to watch their fan films and figure out how this stuff goes. I'll probably do a review on Shattered Past eventually on this podcast, because I don't hardly talk about fan films anymore, because knowing the fact I'm doing a Power Rangers fan film, but I'm just too reluctant and scared to put out one and then get judged for making something crappy again with paper dolls about Lost Galaxy after so many years. But anyway, I really do want to see Mike back, because, I hope they probably will likely explain Mike having the Magna Defender powers again, or some kin of that way like that, because I really don't know how. Because I hope for the best for Crimson Vision Studios. Keep on going what they're doing, though. So I like to give out a shout out to Crimson Vision Studios for doing this thing. Because after all the years I tried to do a Power Rangers thing with Lost Galaxy, I'm happy someone's doing somebody from Lost Galaxy, from canon to some fan thing, and even though I really wanted to see Mike back, and I just wondered, where has Russell been after all these years, and after his time on Power Rangers was over with the Mike Corbett character. But if they'll probably bring back anybody else from Lost Galaxy, the most popular instance of somebody that I think I would like to possibly see come back from Lost Galaxy in the fan series is, of course, Serena Vincent, who played Maya, the Yellow Galaxy Ranger, everybody's favorite piece of Lost Galaxy eye candy and Power Ranger eye candy. I know, I concur. So anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts about Mike's return and how they're gonna likely bring him back. And I just had to sum up where he was last time we saw him, because it was great to see Russell back into the world of Power Rangers, probably just for this one time. Now that whenever this current situation the world is still currently in after all these years, for these last 2 years of the decade, when Power Morphicon comes up, hopefully if Power Morphicon open backs up, and I just hope we get a full Lost Galaxy cast reunion. I want to see everybody from that season back in a reunion at Power Morphicon. I do, because I know Archie Cow, who played Kai, the Blue Galaxy Ranger, he's like overseas doing some type of Asian film work and stuff. So wherever he is nowadays, but it'll be impossible to get him back for a full Lost Galaxy cast reunion. But I know that with what had happened with the cast as of lately, even though Danny Slavin, I guess he doesn't want nothing to do with the fandom anymore. He's still busy doing the court judge thing. I don't want to know what Valerie, Reggie, and them are doing these days. But hopefully, for the fan thing, I just hope that if they do bring back anybody else from Lost Galaxy, I guess I kind of do want to see if they will ask Serena Vincent to be involved in a Power Rangers fan film for any PRLG representation, and so we can see what her character of Maya may be up to today, 23 years after the season ended. And I would like to see what would happen, because also I've noticed Crimson Vision Studios did brought back a few Power Ranger Power Ranger actors in their fan films, in their thing. So I hope eventually they will bring back some actors from other seasons to come into these fan works. That would be nice, especially since with Russell Lawrence back. Maybe they'll probably bring someone, like I said, I don't know if they'll probably have someone else from Lost Galaxy come into the fan series. I don't know if Serena Vincent, well, she's always going to, she's very reachable to her fans. So hopefully if anyone gives her a call to be involved in a fan film, I would like to see that and see what her character is up to after all these years. And since Mike, I'm glad he's back though, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, I will give my thoughts on Power Rangers Shattered Past soon, but right now I'm busy and tied with other topics to talk about related to Power Rangers and Super Sentai and the fandom. So anyway, what do you guys feel about Mike's return in this fan thing. This is not in the TV show. This is really for that fan thing. So, Crimson Vision Studios, good luck bringing back more actors from other seasons of Power Rangers while you can. I hope you guys for the best with your fan series because, yeah, so that's all I can say. So anyway, guys, that's it for my discussion. I think I've said enough. So be sure to subscribe, drop a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time with a new episode of the Terra Venture Podcast.